Hey everybody, so I wanted to get back on here and briefly discuss the first episode of the three-part mini-series titled Keeping Up with the Joneses. Now, this episode actually aired on July 8th and it is titled The Wrong Family. Apparently, the three parts to the series will all have the word wrong in their titles. Tomorrow's episode will be titled The Wrong Letter, and then the final episode that is set to air July 22nd will be titled The Wrong Black Male. So, the way this episode opened up, we clearly see that the family, which consisted of the stepmother and the four stepdaughters, are standing over this body and they're basically saying that they're not going to call the police yet. And other sisters are like, why are we not going to call the police yet? And that opens up the element of suspense for us all, the mystery of it all, because we're like, okay, whose body are they standing over and what have they done? What type of family are we getting ready to watch? And speaking of family, it would appear as though the main storyline for this three-part miniseries is the fact that the patriarch of the family has now passed away and has left behind his very successful enterprise to his wife as well as his four children. But it looks as though his wife, whose name is Robin Jones, has the most power in his estate as well as his company. She seems to be the head of the company. Then we have his oldest daughter, Pam Jones, who is the CFO of the company. We have Carrie, who's also his daughter, and she is the one overseeing the charity apparently of the company. Then we have the other daughter, Kayla. It's as though she sits on the board of the company, but she really doesn't do anything. And then we have the youngest daughter, Tara, who we don't know what she's getting ready to do. She was in boarding school, and if you saw the first episode, then you would know that she was suspended from boarding school. So the family is running the enterprise that was left behind of their fathers. So the company starts receiving threats and the family decides to hire a private investigator. What I found interesting is that they didn't want to hire anyone too official because they did not want the investigator prying too much into the family business. So I think we're probably going to learn more about that as the episodes continue. But nonetheless, they end up going to their brother, who happens to be a police officer. Now, here's where my confusion came in. I'm like, what was the father doing that he didn't had all these children? I'm not certain when the brother came alone in the story, but apparently they had a half brother that clearly was not shared by their mother. They had the four daughters had shared a mother together, but the brother had his own mother. And then you have the wife who's not neither of their mothers. So I'm like, geez, the father wasn't playing around. But anyway, they go to their brother for assistance, and instead of being the private investigator himself, he outsources and chooses some close friend of his that was a former detective herself, and she becomes their private investigator. So throughout the episode, she's scrambling around and trying to get answers, and it was almost at a point where it seemed as though possibly one of the siblings could have been the one making these threats because of the friction that was transpiring in the family. For example, it was revealed that the older sister Pam was having an affair with her sister Kayla's boyfriend. Mind you, Kayla learned that she was pregnant in this episode and went on to marry that very same boyfriend who strong armed Pam or blackmailed Pam into convincing Kayla to do away with the prenup, basically convincing the entire family to do away with a prenup, which is traditional in their family due to their wealth. It is traditional for the groom to sign a prenup, but because the boyfriend of Kayla knew that he had evidence on Pam and the affair that they were having, he used that to his advantage and convinced Pam to convince the family to do away with a prenup for Kayla and his marriage. Then, of course, there is Robin, the matriarch of the family, who is also not the daughter's biological mother. So I just naturally assumed there could be possibly some friction there, seeing as Robin did indeed inherit the business from her late husband, whereas the late husband did not give the business to his daughters directly, or did not give them the head of the seat at the business, but instead made his oldest daughter the CFO. Another suspect would be the character that was the rival of the family's business, who was also the former, I guess you could say, associate of the patriarch of the Jones family, and that is the character played by the actor Ted McGinley. And I thought it was pretty cool to see Ted McGinley in this role. I personally remember him from Married with Children, and the way that he continuously threatened the family and seemed to have threatened Pam as well as Robin, I genuinely thought that he was also a suspect, or the main suspect. So if I'm not mistaken, it seems as though the way the show was explaining this is that this character that Ted McGinley plays, I believe that his last name is Webb, he was the one mailing the threats to the family and their business. However, he wasn't necessarily threatening their life. And it appears as though it was the half brother who was the one meaning to harm the family, and indeed brought harm to the family, because of course he sent that bomb that killed the maid, but it was intended for Robin. And then he also killed the detective who was his friend, mind you. He killed her as well. And the murder of her later on in the episode ties up loose ends from the first scene that we saw in this episode, which was Robin and all of the Jones sisters standing around the body, which was the female detective's body. So I don't believe that the character, again, played by Ted McGinley, I forget the character's name, I don't believe he was intending to actually bring physical harm to the family. I think his threats were more so in regards to business. But of course, the episode would reveal that it was indeed their half brother that was after them all along. And in the end, we would see that they would basically be in a standoff with their brother, and the brother pulls out a gun and Robin shoots him first, which I was laughing. I don't know if you all were laughing. Listen, if you watch Vivica Fox in these Lifetime films, it's always a moment somewhere in the film where she's just absolutely hilarious. And I was cracking up when she said, "You mess with the wrong family." Like, really, lady, did you have to say that in the film? But if you've seen the Lifetime films with Vivica Fox, you would know this is not a surprise. This is her MO, and it's just awesome. It is awesome. I feel like she was so believable, or she is very believable, as the matriarch of this family, taking over the business after her late husband's passing. And then also, I want to just say, the all the actors and actresses that took part of this were excellent. But I definitely felt like the actress that plays the daughter, Pam Jones, Ari Thompson, she is very, very good in this role, and very believable, very classy. I really like her character. I just don't like the fact that she's having an affair with her sister's boyfriend, and he's trash. He is really trash. Last but not least, if you enjoyed the narration of this show, that narration was the voice of Candy Burris, the reality TV star slash actress slash singer. That was indeed her voice. So I'm not a fan of narration, especially in TV shows, but her voice and her narration, it really did come together with the show. So anyway, let me know what you all thought about this three-part series, the first episode. Let me know if after watching the first episode, do you anticipate seeing the second episode, or are you one and done? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.